Welcome. If anybody has joined live tonight, just drop your name in the chat. Just say hello. Um, and if you're watching this on the replay, it's great to have you. So this week, actually maybe over the last week and a half, I've sort of been going down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Sorry if there's glare here. I apologize. I've been going down a little bit of a rabbit hole, what I've been noticing with some AI videos. Obviously, we all watch YouTube, and a lot of the videos that have been coming up in my feed lately are AI generated, and it's getting harder and harder to tell what is AI generated just from like the thumbnail. In the beginning, it was pretty evident, but some of them look like real thumbnails, like they have real people, and sometimes they have pictures of real people on the thumbnail. But when you click on it, you can see that it's not that it's not a real person behind the camera there. And what I've been noticing is whether it's videos on current events or whether it's, history videos or even, health related videos like diet and whatnot. The videos are beautiful. They're perfect. They have great charts. They have great pictures. They have some amazing B-roll. But not everything in the video is accurate or truthful. And I don't think I really caught this until because I watch a lot of AI. I don't like watching AI generated videos, but I have watched some of them, whether it was with Joe Dispenza, some Wayne Dyer. I've definitely watched some keto type of videos, different things along those lines. And I watch them. There's also some videos that I've on different health related things like vitamins, whatnot. And I don't know what's true. And I sort of suspect or always thought it was relatively truthful information. But then, I don't know, over the past couple of weeks, I've been watching some of these AI videos that are around current events and current events that I am very well versed in, very well up to date in, more so than these videos. And the videos are downright just inaccurate. So then I started thinking, are these videos being created by an AI system? Obviously there's some type of creator behind it. And are they just plugging in a prompt and this AI model is just generating the whole video for them? And is the creator not doing any legwork, any homework to validate the information that is being shared? So again, this happened 2 or 3 times now over the past week and a half. So I started purposely looking for some AI videos around history. And quite a few videos I have found, and I can list a couple of them in the description if anybody's interested, but a couple of them I found are completely just off. Some of the dates are off. And not that I am, a history buff or anything, but certainly I can go and look certain information up. But some of it you were also taught in school that you just knew. And actually, I wrote down, there's this one AI history channel, and I will link this one in the description because it has over 2.3 million views. But some of their stories have the centuries completely wrong. It's crazy. And there was actually an article that I was reading, which I can also link in the description, that talk about creators who actually have history channels. And since this, I know it's termed as AI slop, but since these AI generated videos, 100% AI generated videos have come onto the scene, their views have dropped by like 60%, this article is saying. And it's getting replaced with information that's not exactly correct. So this is why I went down this rabbit hole. I have 2 grandchildren, a third on the way. I don't want the algorithms teaching my grandchildren. So I started thinking, because there's also a lot of channels that I follow that have an actual human behind them that I have actually been following for a few years, love them. Some are relatively new, but I really started, going down this dark rabbit hole that, what if history starts getting replaced? What if what we have been taught in time completely gets, you know, just not accurate, recorded so that it's not accurate? And whether it's for my grandchildren or whether it's whatever it is, that is a scary, scary thought that we are relying, we just meaning society, I guess, so heavily upon AI and thinking that AI is giving us accurate information. And to be honest, I have been using AI for a few years now, more so in the beginning of my YouTube journey. I started using AI because I thought, oh, it's easy to help come up with titles. It's easy to help come up with, descriptions or different things for my videos. And I swear, the more I use it, the less I'm convinced that it's really that good. So anyways, all right. So that's that's the part about AI. And this isn't a video, I didn't want this whole live to be about just dumping on AI or anything. That's not what this is about. But what this is about is looking to all of you folks, anybody who comes across this video. If you are not already doing a YouTube channel, really give it some consideration, because what we need, what YouTube needs, or Instagram, Facebook, I feel Facebook is so far off the beaten path now. There's so much out there that is just inaccurate on Facebook. But we need truth. We need real stories. We need real people who have lived real stories. And obviously, you're not going to be able to go back hundreds of years, but that's okay. Just especially, I'm thinking as the next, as the baby boomers all move on, right? Where is all that information going to go if we don't start capturing it now? And a lot of times I think the younger generation, a lot of the times they're just sort of caught up in life, right? And I don't know too many younger kids or young adults that will actually sit with their grandparents and actually be interested in their life, in their stories. And I guess I'm speaking from experience. I was very close to my Nana, and probably more so than anybody else in my family. And though I have some information of hers, like of her childhood and just her adult life and whatnot, I don't have enough information. I wish I had learned more. So if more people, more real people, would get behind creating their stories and recording their stories, and I say put it out on YouTube, there's obviously other platforms you can put it on, but just documenting it and documenting the truth and just your history. So not only would we be able to capture some of it, and again, if we can capture even some of the truth as you have learned it through history, through time, when you were going through school, when you were going through college, what you were taught, because I'm telling you right now, what I was taught, let me think, gotta think, like 50 years ago in school is different than what my kids were taught coming through school. And we would sit around the dinner table and I would just be shocked at some of the things, really shocked. So I do feel, even without all this AI stuff and this, the algorithms and whatnot, I feel history has been getting slowly rewritten. And So if we cannot create the truth in history now so that it can live on, I think history may get completely rewritten. So that's one aspect of it, right? The history. And so that our children and our grandchildren can learn, well, I guess what I believe to be factual. But also, and I remember, I think the first time I heard this was from Rob the Maritimer. He had done a video months ago about creating a legacy, or I'm sorry, creating a time capsule with YouTube, right? You could talk about something now, document something now, and it could be out there and it could live out there for 30, 40 years. Now, will something come and replace YouTube in the next decade? Maybe. Will YouTube actually start deleting videos, purging videos over time? Maybe. Don't know. But wouldn't it still be worth maybe giving it a shot and creating something that could live out there for whether it's your children or your grandchildren? And even more recently, and I really love this idea. And, if there's anybody, if anybody would like to chime in and, let me ask and put it in the comments here in the chat. What is one story that you wish your children or grandchildren would know about you? Or what is one story that you wish you knew about your parents or your grandparents? Put it in the chat. I'd love to hear. Or if you're watching this on the replay, put it in the comments, because I'm really interested. And, one of the other things, sorry, I just lost my whole train of thought. So one of the other things that just recently happened is it's Granny's Corner. I've been following her just a few weeks, maybe a month now, and she's doing something that has inspired me so much. And she has been reading Little House on the Prairie, the Laura Ingalls series. And that series was one of my favorite series as a kid. And she's been reading a chapter each, each video. And she said she's doing it so that so her grandchildren can hear her read it to them. Isn't that amazing? I love that idea. I just love that idea. My grandson is almost 26 and my granddaughter is only 8 months. So sort of in between the reading right now, but I love that idea. And she has definitely inspired me, and I will probably do something along those lines at some point for my granddaughter. And I have a grandson who's going to be born in a few months as well. So, but isn't that, I guess that goes along with the time capsule, that Rob the Maritimer had talked about. But anything like that, anything that you can pass on to your children, to your grandchildren, whatever you think is important, I think it's worth taking the time, to document that. And I've actually started watching a very specific history channel, and it's with Mike, and it's about the Philadelphia and the history there around bridges and different roadways and whatnot. And it's actually really caught my attention because my daughter has been going to school down at Penn State, and she flies out of Philly often when she goes wherever she goes, or we drive down often to go visit her at Penn State. So we're driving through the state often enough. So it's really interesting to hear about some of this stuff. And I love his channel. I'll also, any of these channels that I mentioned, I will put in the description in case anybody's interested in looking at them. And again, along the history idea, and I am infatuated with this channel, is The Quiet Nomad with Monica. She is from Scotland, and she just has a way of capturing, she will tour the countryside in Scotland, and she'll talk about different castles and whatnot. My goodness, I just find that fascinating, fascinating. And if I had not found her channel, I would never know any of this stuff. I probably wouldn't have gone searching for it. And so even think along those lines. What is it about where you live and that you can share about how life used to be or how life is today? I was taking my dogs for a walk the other day, and we have some trails that run behind our house. And our primary residence is in Massachusetts, and we live in a town that's the suburbs, but it's quite built up now. But maybe 60 years ago, it was all farm country. It was a big dairy farming there. And I just have started researching. I've been in this town, oh my goodness, maybe for 40 years. No, maybe not quite 40 years. And I knew some of it, obviously. I knew some of the history, but I've been really digging, and it's actually quite amazing. Some of the rich culture that came out of this particular town. And Andover, Massachusetts is my town. So in even up, we do have another house up at the lake. And the history up there at Lake Winnipesaukee is amazing as well. So just think about it. Just think about, I guess my plea is for people to start a channel for the sole purpose of sharing information, sharing history. Obviously there's a lot of other benefits that could come with a YouTube channel. But I think we really need to protect our culture. And I'm not even just saying here in the US. I'm talking around the world. Okay? There's a lot of geopolitical things going on right now around the world, and I don't want to get into them in this particular live, but I'm pretty versed in all of them, and it is absolutely amazing how much life has changed from just 15, 20 years ago. So you have these young kids, you have these young adults that are coming into this world, and this is all they know, but they don't know what it used to be like. I think that's worth sharing with them. I think our history is worth sharing. And if we don't share it, then some of that can get lost. So anyways, so that was what I really wanted to talk about tonight. And I think it's important. I really think it's important that we consider, just let me look at my notes, make sure I touched on everything that I wanted to touch on. Everybody has a story. And I say this all the time on my channel, you matter. So your story matters. Now, maybe you've gone through a struggle that you can take that struggle and turn it around and help somebody else. I always call that, turning my pain into purpose. And I've journeyed down quite a few roads in my life, and some of them not very easy, but I can honestly say that getting through every situation, climbing every mountain, not only has it made me stronger, it has made me wiser, and it has given me the ability to turn around and help somebody else. So, consider that. And even if you think your story or what you've been through, your journey doesn't matter, I can talk with you for 15 minutes and I can probably convince you how wrong you are on that, because it does matter. And I can convince you, you may think you have nothing to talk about, And again, all we have to do is talk about your history, talk about your upbringing, talk about the way it used to be when, maybe the family sat around the dinner table and had dinner every night. Talk about how kids used to go out after school and play until the street lights came on, and then would come in and do an hour worth of homework. An hour worth of homework. My kids would have given anything to do an hour worth of homework. They literally would be given 3 hours, without exaggeration, worth of homework. And they all played sports. So they would go, they'd get out of school, then they'd go to sports for a couple of hours, practice or whatnot. And then, would have dinner, and then they would spend 3 hours doing homework. It's just crazy. And, I think if we don't teach the younger generation how it used to be, all they know is, I was looking for my phone, all they know is this technology, okay? I'm not sure anybody would know what to do if we didn't have technology. Just losing power, right? If you're someplace where you lose power due to a storm or whatever, and you don't have the generator, God forbid you don't have a generator, right? We never had generators growing up, but anyways, and you can't have access to your phone, you don't have access to the internet. People don't know what to do. So, and maybe there's somebody, maybe there's, I don't know, maybe, even if you don't have kids or grandkids to share this information, there's other people who need to hear this information, especially our younger generation. I sort of feel bad for our younger generation right now. They're really in a predicament, and none of it is their fault. None of it is their fault. So anyways, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole tonight. So let me ask, off the top of your head, just list one idea that you could think of right away that you'd be able to do for your channel. This doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need any equipment. Just document. And if you don't want to record, then that's okay too. Write a book, write a memoir, and just put the history in there. There's so many writing platforms today. Substack is a good one. Get out there and just share your story on Substack if you don't want to get on video. There's so many ways to share your story, to share the history, to share information. And, put in the comments, and I can help anyone find the right, venue to actually share your story. But one of the other things, I had done a video a couple weeks ago. It was a few videos back. I don't remember exactly when I did it, but it was about my story about when I finally pushed record, right? I had actually been I had created a channel and then literally didn't push record for maybe a year, close to a year. And in that video, I talk about what got me to finally take that first step and do it. And from that video, I have gotten quite a few DMs and emails and comments about how it inspired people, but also so many people were just where I was, right? They want to do it, they want to share, but they're not sure that what they have to share is important. They're not sure anybody's going to want to listen to it. They're very nervous, they're very scared. All the things that anybody who's ever created a channel knows exactly what they're talking about. And I've told them, reach back out to me. I can help them identify what they can talk about. There's a couple things that, I consider myself relatively intelligent, but there's two assets, I'd say, that have served me well my entire life. And that is being able to understand and read people and common sense. Those two things have served me. And it's probably because I didn't have a choice. at a very young age. But just sitting with somebody for 15, 20 minutes, I can usually get a good feel on how to help them. So that's it. So if you're watching this, you may already have a channel, and that's great. And I don't know what your channel is about, whether it's about the history or, leaving a legacy for your children. But even along the health field, my goodness, there is so much misinformation put out there. And I do follow 3 or 4 health channels. I have my go-to doctors that I like to follow. And they're constantly combating this AI stuff too. They're just like, you can't be listening to all of this. So if you are somebody who creates AI, 100% AI videos, I'm not putting them down. Just make sure that you're confirming the information is accurate. That's all. And, one of the things that popped through my head is maybe some of the creators are messing things up on purpose. And I only say that because, any type of engagement is good engagement. What's that old saying? Any publicity is good publicity, even if it's not good publicity. So, maybe they're like, oh, if we put a couple errors in here, then people will comment like, you got this wrong. So maybe it is on purpose. I don't know. But if that's the case, there's a lot of it. And that's really going to do us a disservice. But where it really was highlighted is in some of the current events that have taken place and some of the stories that are these AI videos that are being created around them. I'm like, that didn't happen. They didn't say that. They didn't do that. And the worst part about it is I love to read the comments in the videos I watch. And these videos have like 1,200 comments. And at least the ones that I've read, they believe 100% of what the video is saying, 100%. So that's where, that's where it's really harmful. So that's it. I appreciate everybody who joined tonight. Put it in the chat if you have any questions. Reach out. I like to answer every single comment. And if you're watching this on the replay, definitely comment below some feedback. Have you run into any of these AI videos where for a fact that some of the information's wrong? I'd love to hear that too. And I will put some of these creators that I talked about, their channels down in the description. There's quite a few of them that I really, really like. So that's it. I look forward to our next live. And until then, I hope you all have a great night. Take care, folks.